G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is an M1903 Infantry rifle, otherwise known as a Springfield, and I'll be referring to it as a Springfield for the rest of the video. If you've ever played Day of Infamy, and you've ever used a Springfield rifle in that game, then this is it. This is basically a port, but it's been redone. This is a redux of an original mod, which hasn't been updated in a long time, so let's find out what this thing does. Obviously, there's custom animations. I think they're very similar to the Moss and Nagant, so you'll be reloading with stripper clips and also one at a time, just depending on whether you've got a scope on this thing to block that reloading thing there. So it's got that inbuilt magazine, so it's full World War I spec. In real life, this thing was used extensively by the American forces during the First World War, but lesser in the Second World War when the M1 Garand was invented, which was a much better rifle to utilize because, well, it's a semi-automatic thing. This thing is bolt action, so of course you'll have some animations to support that. It's on the correct side, am I right, hunting rifle, and, well, that's pretty much the gist of it. Let's get into the attachments. First of all, we've got the receivers. If we scroll all the way down, your two strongest receivers will be your calibrated powerful. That'll be for utilizing crits, and your advanced receiver, which will just be raw damage output increasing. You need gun nut rank 3 to get that, and rifleman rank 1. Interesting. Next, we've got the barrels. You can have a stub barrel, which will reduce your range by a significant amount, but it'll probably give you slightly better AP usage per shot. But this thing, being a bolt-action rifle, keeping your enemies at a distance is quite advantageous because your rate of fire isn't very high, which means your DPS is going to be lackluster. So if we extend that range out further with a long barrel, then we're doing pretty well. And of course, you can throw a stock on. We've got a short stock. This one, for some reason, gives you much better bash than a full stock, despite it being a heavier thing to bash them with, but don't worry about it. This one will give you better recoil control, obviously, better than no stock at all. And this marksman stock comes with a bipod, which is pretty neat. It'll also make your scope more steady when you aim down the sights, so that's nice. Also, superior recoil. Not that recoil is a problem with a bolt-action rifle. It fires much too slow for that to be any issue. Next, we've got the sights. You can have standard sights, glowing sights, which it's a ghost ring with a front post, which is also glowing. There's also red and teal versions and white versions of the glow sights. There's some 44 Magnum looking reflex sights to utilize. Very good for that, so we might test those out in just a minute. But there's also options for scopes, and these will change your reload animations because, well, you can't put the stripper clips in there because the scope's in the way. I think with these World War I rifles, some of them had the scopes made offset so they could utilize the stripper clips for a faster reload, but not the case on this one, and the scope is longer than the barrel on this one. That's great. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Perhaps a medium scope will be the best of both worlds. We don't have to be on the edge of render distance to get this thing to work, plus we're going to be reducing our range with a suppressor. There's an option for a bayonet as well. In close quarters, bayonets on bolt-action rifles are very useful because instead of charging the bolts between every shot, you can do a cheeky little bash instead, and the next round will chamber anyway. Like, you bash them hard enough to, you know, recycle the chamber, so isn't that nice? If you scroll down, you can find an elite suppressor, which will reduce your range, of course, but increase our damage thanks to Ace Operator. It does require rank 2 of Mr. Sandman. Interesting, but still gun nut rank 3. Legendary effect provided by legendary modification. We'll skip over that. And you can get some cool material swaps. This one's battle worn, makes it look a little bit more worn. A little bit less, actually. That's been interesting. Refurbished makes it look all brand spanking new. Blue rattle can material. Looks like that. That's kind of cool. Winter and Safari, which gives you a nice little green sort of hexy setup. That's kind of cool. Let's go for something a little bit, sure, let's go for something a little bit vibrant. We'll choose the blue one. It'll match the blue tape on the stock there. And that's it for our M1903 Springfield. So let's show you how to get them, and there's also a unique one, so let's go over that. Time for a quick comparison. So here's the advanced blue Springfield that you saw me create on the workbench just before, but I've also got a hunting rifle for a very similar role. Both have advanced receivers. It's just the advanced receiver version of a hunting rifle turns it into a 50 caliber anti-material rifle without changing the size of the magazine or size of the barrel, but don't worry about it. It does more damage. So this thing, in comparison, it does less damage to the Springfield, but it has a slightly more equal DPS, probably only because this thing has a slightly higher rate of fire, but I think that's lying to me. The hunting rifle is dreadfully slow. I feel like this thing's faster, so I wouldn't put too much stock into that. One of the big differences is that this thing, the hunting rifle that is, has much better range over the Springfield, which could be a problem for dedicated sniping. So again, throwing on the long scope might be slight overkill for the range this thing is able to fire. It's also worth mentioning this thing is a lot heavier than your hunting rifle. See, there's a big difference there, but its value is higher, so there's some resale value in it if you ever get sick of it. So worth mentioning, but I think this thing's got to the hunting rifle covered quite easily. It's the damage per shot that really counts here, and this thing is cleared it by 40-odd points of damage, which, when you factor in all of the multipliers for sneak crits and normal crits and whatnot, will get you a lot of good damage. Okay, so the M1903 Springfield is supposed to be injected onto the leveled list at level 15 with a unique version spawning at Arturo's, but I've been to both Arturo's and now Cleo's, and the Springfield has failed to show up. It ought to be here, but perhaps the archives are incomplete. Also, check out this light machine gun. It's a Fallout 76 port, but it's got 14,000 DPS. That's good. Yes, so we'll have to be sporting those in with console commands, so stand by. And now we're here at Arturo's, and he's got a unique. It's called Helmet Popper, which gives you the VATS Enhanced legendary effect, which is going to be quite useful, yes, and it is also a very, very expensive weapon to get, but perhaps it'll pay for itself. We're going to completely change what this thing works or how it looks like. Looks like we can still modify this thing, but yeah, you're supposed to be able to find the Helmet Popper on Arturo, but I didn't, so, you know, just console command it in, sold it to him. We can just pretend that we did this properly. Cost me a few caps to do it, but here it is. One important tidbit too. So we've got a short barrel on right now, and you can see that I've mounted a bayonet to the front. If you put on a stub barrel, the muzzle attachment slot goes away. You lose it, so you won't be able to attach any muzzles on a stub barrel. So short barrel it is, and this is going to be Mega VATS thing, but I suppose I've already got that role covered with the Helmet Popper now in Safari paint with a reflex sight and a longer barrel on it, so this should be pretty cool. Weirdly, it's doing less damage. It's because the scope factor, thanks to the magazine that gives you slightly better damage with scopes, but sure, it's only 5%, it's not that much. Alright, so we're here at Immersive Gunners Plaza. Here is our Springfield in first person and aiming down the sights. Yep, just a standard vanilla game scope. And since it's got a marksman stock, it's got very little... how to hit the one behind him, that's interesting. It's got very little in the way of, scope sway, which is nice. A quick look in this thing at third person. That's what it looks like. Rechambering the round looks like that. And it's got a reload animation as well to utilize in third person. Very cool. If you're using one that doesn't have a sight obscuring the loading port, like this one, I've decided to spec this one to be basically normal. It's just standard iron sights, advanced receiver, of course, but a bayonet at the front for, you know, like mega close quarters combat. Oh, you can't do the hunting rifle trick of bashing to stop the rechambering, but it's fine. If we're in close quarters, we can hit them nice and hard with the pokey stick and we'll be fine. And here is Head Popper. It's got a reflex sight instead of a scope on it, and of course it's got that green. And that's it. We're utilizing an armor set called Banshee Recon Armor and a jetpack on the back of that, because we've got to mix the low-tech weapons with the high-tech armor-looking things, right? Ooh, I can jump very high. That's like a marsupial jump. I don't like that. I don't like thinking I'm playing Fallout 76. Anyways, suppose we'll begin. Luckily, with this one, we've got a big scope, so we don't have to worry about the reticule of the sight disappearing. So we're just going a little bit of a gun-fu streak here. Unfortunately for me, the reloads are going to be very slow because we'll be reloading one bullet at a time, and as you can tell, it takes a very long time. Just think about that. That's not a Springfield, is it? Nope, that's some bullpup Russian rifle. Yes, it's going to take even longer if the game's in slow motion, such as it is. And keep in mind that despite this thing being fairly okay on its AP, you can... Okay, I would finish that thought first. Yeah, despite it being pretty good on its AP usage, we can go even better with the head popper if we feel like it. You can interrupt this reload as well. Best to do that whilst hip firing, but the hip fire accuracy on this thing is pretty darn good anyway, so I'm okay with this. There it is. Tried to interrupt the reload, and that mantis is going to cause trouble. So maybe we'll just go over to head popper now. And this is where I hate that I've got the chameleon legendary effect. So you're going away. There we go. And now we have to reload in slow motion. You can utilize quick hands in VATS to make that happen faster, but you're running the possibility of losing your gun through streak if you do that. So perhaps the easiest thing to do rather than nothing at all is just charge in with this thing and just try to get as many headshots as possible. So, ooh, the gun's sort of in my way there. That's our third target, so this next one should be an automatic crit, which we've got the shot lined up. There it is. Very nice. And a Grim Reaper sprint to boot. And like I was saying, despite its DPS that we saw on the weapon card, this thing can do a good job. If you can hit hard enough, which is easy, we'll just use our jetpack to fly up. I feel like there's a little bit of cheese involved with this. Some of the flight physics go a little bit wonky. But we can permanently stay in slow motion. Ooh, hip firing everything. That one we'll have to jump over and then beat down. And maybe add a crit to the mix, because why not? That was actually a completely worthless crit because I was already going to crit anyway. Come on. There we go. So potentially, if you want to use this thing in VAFs all the time, you've got one of those VATS maxing builds. You can just sort of crush everything with this, which is not too bad. I think we're a little bit out of range for that one. We can't exactly one-shot everything, but we wouldn't want to make things too easy. Oh, I see you, Invisible Man. That wasn't a headshot. That definitely was. And we're back in normal. Let's go over to something a little bit more down to earth. Nice. Definitely was expecting that to happen. Oop, gotta reload. This reload much faster, of course, because we're popping in the entire 5 stripper clip thing. That's some good aim. I go a little bit lazy on my aim if I'm always playing in slow motion, it would seem. Okay, that guy is doing a little bit of... Whoa, he's spamming grenades down there and throwing corpses into the stratosphere. Saying take cover to his own nades. He's saying that to me. A bit of friendly advice. Very sporting gunner. Anyways, so things are going pretty well. Of course, we're not, you know, crushing everything like we would like a big LMG or something. With multiple bullets firing at once or whatnot. But it's doing the job. We get a little bash finisher on that guy. Now we can float down here. We're all scurrying up the stairs. Let's make this personal. Try to hit him. Poke him with a stick. If you poke him in the head, it does more damage, but it's going to take a fair amount of bashing. That was... finally got that critical right when I really didn't need it. But I'm hoping the critical shows up pretty soon. I'm using such little AP here that I can potentially do this for hours, decades perhaps, which I don't know, it's not super reliable in terms of DPS, but we were stunning that guy. So if it's a one-on-one thing in a pinch, you could probably get away with it. And if my jetpack wasn't enough, I've also got a bloody grappling hook for good measure. Quit shooting me. One more will do for you. There we go. Grim Reaper sprint happens. I'm not seeing any cartridges actually go into the magazine when I reload with that, but don't worry about it. It's probably fine. Anyway, so that was a day of Infamy Springfield, ripping up Immersive Gunners Plaza. A lot of heavy lifting done by Gunfu, of course, but that's not to say that the weapon isn't bad. It's actually done very well and exceeded all expectations. Now, yep, okay, we're definitely clear of all the gunners, so yeah, that was actually pretty interesting. Bit of cheese with the jetpack and the grappling hook move, but sure, whatever, it's fine. We don't do this every day. Or should we? Okay, time to fight the Mighty Swan and the dude who blows himself up all the time. There he goes. Now, add some criticals in the mix, get this started right. Yep, and then just sniper knockdown there. Good, we needed that. Because this thing is not going to be the fastest thing in the world to utilize. Alright, we've got a decent shot on his head there. That's surprisingly good, so why not use some of these VATS criticals? Gotta love the fast VATS mods. I love that. It actually makes it so you can use VATS without sacrificing DPS. Sure, the shot's always the same, like the camera shot of directly over the shoulder of the player, but it's just better for DPS, and you don't have to sit and watching the same camera angles of the same criticals or the stagger reactions from your enemies all the time, so it works. Anyways, so I'm gonna fly up here now, get staggered in the air. That's normal. Now what are you gonna do? Not much. You get attacked by bighorners, perhaps. Okay, that rock finally landed on me. Wow, he's actually killing the bighorners. Maybe I'll crouch down or something. I don't know whether you can actually attack me like this. Well, here it comes. When's gravity gonna bring it down? Oh, it disappeared. Great. So we're basically immune to his attacks now? If he's close? That's interesting. Alright, let's use our helmet popper. Get some of these crits back, I suppose. Don't forget to reload. Just because you're invisible doesn't mean that you're not blonde. That's some quality use of the penetrator perk, and don't forget to reload again. It just seems to be a weird bug with hunting rifles and other bolt action weapons. There was a viral Fallout 4 video that was it's got huge view numbers. I mean, that's what viral means, but it was a dude at Gunners Plaza was shooting a man with a 44 Magnum, and as they're waiting for that reload, that bug that you saw just now, a mini nuke flies just past their shoulder. Since they're wearing the heavy combat armor, it literally clips right into them. Called I Screamed the Whole Time or something. Oh, the mysterious stranger's gonna steal my kill, is he? Nah, not on my watch. Get out of here. There we go. And one more crit. Give him the old double tap. Very dramatic fall. Scorsese-esque. And our legendary that we got, I know you're all bloody just completely transfixed on what drops that I get. SVU sniper and troubleshooter. No. Won't do that. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Maybe we'll fight them in the air all the time. We'll make it a rule that I can only attack them in the air. That sounds cool. Alright, so here's how this is going to work. I'm going to get nice and close and try to get a little bit of gun fu out of this. So that's one, and just the one. That's fine. Mysterious stranger is showing up. That's okay. He's going to possibly aggro him, and I missed the thing. Fly up just as he's about to strike. Hopefully that won't hit me. Nope, not quite. One more headshot for the road. Missed again. Let's come out of that for a second. There we go. That's what we want to see. Double crits. Very nice. And before we fall down to earth, we'll do it all again. Oh, I'm up here now. Now, where are you going to run to? Oh, he is out of there. We might actually go back into caution at this rate. Not quite. Seeing is believing, I guess. I've left the jetpack on for too long, so now I'm plummeting towards the earth. But I'm thinking what I might do is utilize a scoped version here, just so I could actually pinpoint him and aim down sight. It's going to eat up more AP, of course, but doing this allows me to hit him much more effectively and knock him down as well. With just enough time to get a reload, my AP is still not back. But even still, we can fly in the air and kill this guy with ease, and also his mate. Got him too. Alright, so we've done that. That's worked out pretty well, I guess. And there goes a car falling off the highway because the car rendered in before that. That happens. Sometimes it can land on the player and instantly kill them, so isn't that fun? Okay, one more monster, but we'll call in backup or something. Okay, the final test will be seeing if we can take out this giant squad of bears, but I have a squad of my own. Everyone's here. Every single one of them are all dressed up with the Banshee armor, and they've even got the jetpack, which they're not going to use, and it doesn't negate any of the fall damage, but, I mean, at least we're all in matching costumes now. So we're going to get less base damage because we don't have Lone Wonder active, so we're going to miss out on, what, 25% of that base damage, but the strategy here is simple. We take out the small ones so we don't get perma-staggered to the high heavens, and then we can all focus fire on the big one, who is the only one in VAS range as of yet. So we need to do something about that. Perhaps the best way to do that is to wait. I'm going to leave the big one under them. Tammy's already copped a hit. That's not good. I'm going to leave all of those alone. We've got no AP left to make any more shots. Maybe we should get Head Popper out. I forgot to load this rifle before we started. That's not good. Alright. There we go. That's a couple of shots against you. More against you. Some against you. And lastly, a couple of crits against you. Probably not worth it to use any more crits if I don't have to. The 2 shots that I've got on these enemies will probably do the job. Although, that one didn't mutate yet. Quickly, before he hits her. Before he hits Bridget. Oh, nick of time. And 1 crit for you. Looks like he's stuck. He got staggered for a bit. And now we can all start shooting at this guy. Everyone gang bash him. Oh, Lily's throwing Tesla turrets. Well, he's managed to take out one, but I think he's stuck. At least is until... Lily, you need to stop doing that. Stop throwing turrets. I should have really taken those off her so that never happens, but still. Soon there's going to be lightning covering the screen. Like we're watching Revenge of the Sith during the scene where Anakin kills Mace Windu. Or, no, I think the Emperor kills him, but he chops his hand off, and that stops him from killing Palpatine. Looks very comfortable there. Don't think I'd be as comfortable in a firefight, but whatever. There he goes. He's just being completely... Oh, that turret exploded mid-air. You sure that one wasn't loaded with explosives? We've got enough snipers on the team that he can remain in a state of complete and utter knockdown And these turrets have done a little bit of good work too, but you know what? That's just Lily's special ability. She's popping her ult every 2 seconds, but there you go. We did it. It took a whole squad of us in a while, but a bunch of sniper knockdowns. I think that would have been Phoebe and Kira. See, if you've seen the XCOM series, usually Phoebe's either a specialist or a sharpshooter, and Kira's always a sharpshooter, and maybe someone else. Maybe Nina's got the sniper knockdown. I can't remember whether I added that, but I think you get the idea. So the Day of Infamy M1903 Springfield Infantry Rifle. If you are a fan of this thing, maybe a bit of a fan of history, and would like to see this probably easily lore-friendly game weapon in your game, then go check out the link in the description. It should be down there. If there's no Xbox port for this particular version, I'll try to find the old non-Redux version so we can at least have that instead of, I guess, nothing at all. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.